Hey guys, welcome back. Happy Friday. On a normal Friday, I guess we'd be taking a DMR quiz and a word study quiz and some of those things. So I guess the good thing about this is that you don't have those quizzes today. I am just continue to be overwhelmed by the number of responses that I'm getting from the question related to the video, which is amazing. I got so many neat things yesterday. I got a video. I so enjoyed the video of the answer. Several people are writing their answer and their parents are sending me pictures of their work, and I love seeing that. Also, just the messaging back through Dojo is amazing too. So any way that you're getting your answer to me is wonderful, and I just love seeing that you're enjoying the movies and watching the read aloud of the book, so that makes me so happy. I actually have had so many people answering the question that I had to make a list to keep track of the people so that I don't lose track of who's answered me. So like I had promised, I'm going to go ahead and draw today for the first book, which was The Great One and the Pain. So I took the names of the people who sent me their answers and I just folded them up in here, and I'm going to draw on camera so that it's fair. All right, so our winner is Elizabeth. So I will make sure, Elizabeth, that I get a little something out to you in the mail. I don't think my mail lady's come yet today, so as soon as I finish recording, I'll get that ready and I'll put it in my mailbox so that I can get that out to you today. On Monday, I will draw from the story yesterday. So make sure that if you have not read the story from yesterday and answered that question, you could work on that over the weekend. And of course, you could work on the question from the book that I'm going to read today. So I'm going to try to get one new winner every time. So if you weren't chosen today, just keep watching and keep answering, because I'm going to make sure that we get to everybody. So I'm so excited to have you involved, and I'm just so excited that you're answering. Like I said, I can't say that enough. I do miss you dearly. I wish that it was a regular Friday and that we were all together, but this is the next best thing. So the story that I chose today is called Thunder Cake, and it's by Patricia Polacco. She's the same author who wrote the book Thank You, Mr. Falker, which we read that book together this year in class. So this is the same author of that story. One sultry summer day at my grandma's farm in Michigan, the air gets damp and heavy. Storm clouds drift low over the fields, birds fly close to the ground. The clouds grow for an instant with a sharp, crackling light, and then a roaring, low, tumbling sound of thunder makes the windows shudder in their panes. The sound used to scare me when I was little. I loved to go to my grandma's house, Babushka, as I used to call my grandma, because she had come from the country of Russia years before. But I feared that Michigan's summer storms. I feared the sound of the thunder more than anything. I always hid under the bed when the storm moved near the farmhouse. This is the story of how my grandma, my babushka, helped me to overcome my fear of thunderstorms. What a perfect story, considering we've had so many thunderstorms recently. Grandma looked at the horizon and drew a deep breath and said, "This is thunder cake. Baking weather, all right. Looks like a storm is coming to me." The air was hot, heavy, and damp. A loud clap of thunder shook the house, rattled the windows, and made me grab her close. "Steady, child," she cooed. "Unless you let go of me, you won't be able to make a thunder cake today." "Thunder cake," I stammered as I hugged her even closer. "Don't pay attention to that old thunder at all, except to see how close the storm is getting. When you see the lightning start to come real slow and you hear the thunder, stop counting. When you see the lightning start counting real slow, and then when you hear the thunder, stop counting. The number is how many miles away the storm is. You understand?" she asked. "We need to know how far away the storm is so we have time to make the cake and get it into the oven before the thunderstorm comes, or it won't be a thunder cake." So they're going to bake a cake when the thunderstorm comes. Her eyes surveyed the black clouds a way off in the distance. Then she strolled into the kitchen. Her worn hands pulled a thick book from the shelf above the wood stove. "Let's find that recipe, child," she crowed, as she lovingly looked through the stained grease pages and found a crease spot. "Here it is, thunder cake." She carefully pinned the ingredients onto a piece of notebook paper. "Now, let's gather all of the things that we need," she exclaimed, and she scurried off towards the back door. They're making their grocery list. We were by the barn door when a huge bolt of lightning flashed. I started counting just like Grandma had told me to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then the thunder roared. 10 miles. It's about 10 miles away, Grandma said, as she looked at the sky. About an hour away, I'd say. "You'll have to hurry, child. Gather them eggs carefully," she said. Eggs from mean old Nellie Peck Hen. I was scared. I knew she would try to peck me. "I'm here. She won't hurt you. Just get them eggs," Grandma said softly. The light flashed again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I counted. 9 miles, Grandma reminded me. The storm is getting closer. Milk was next. Milk from old Kick Cow. As Grandma milked her, Kick Cow turned and looked at me, right at me. I was scared. She looked so big. Zip went the lightning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I counted. Boom went the thunder. 8 miles, child, Grandma croaked. Now we have to get chocolate and sugar and flour from the dry shed. I was scared as we walked down the path from the farmhouse, through tangleweed woods to the dry shelter. Suddenly, the lightning slit the sky. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I counted. Boom, boom, ba-boom, crashed the thunder. It scared me a lot, but I kept walking with Grandma. What do you notice about every page? The thunder and the storm is getting a little bit what? Another jagged edge of lightning flashed as I creeped into the dry shed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Crackle, crackle, boom, boom, kaboom, the thunder bellowed. It was dark, and I was scared. "I'm here, child," Grandma said softly from the doorway. "Hurry now, we haven't got much time. We've got everything but the secret ingredient." 3 overripe tomatoes and some strawberries, Grandma whispered as she squinted at the list. I climbed up high on the trellis. The ground looked a long way down, and I was scared. "I'm here, child," she said. Her voice was steady and soft. "You won't fall." I reached 3 luscious tomatoes while she picked strawberries. Lightning again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I counted. Kabang! Boom-a-room, boom! The thunder growled. We hurried back to the house in the warm kitchen and we measured the ingredients. I poured them into the mixing bowl while Grandma mixed. I churned butter for the frosting and melted the chocolate. Finally, we poured the batter into the cake pans and put them into the oven together. Lightning lit the kitchen. I only counted to 3 and the thunder rumbled and crashed. 3 miles away, Grandma said, and the cake is in the oven. We made it. We'll have a real thunder cake. As we waited for the cake, Grandma looked out the window for a long time. "Why, you aren't afraid of thunder. You're too brave," she said as she looked right at me. "I'm not brave, Grandma," I said. "I was under the bed, remember?" "But you got out from under it," she answered. "And you got eggs from mean old Nellie Peck Hen. And you got milk from old Kick Cow. And you went through Tangleweed Woods to the dry shed. And you climbed the trellis in the barnyard. From where I sit, only a very brave person could have done all of those things." thought and thought as the storm rumbled closer. She was right. I was brave. Brave people can't be afraid of a sound, child, she said. As we spreaded out the tablecloth and set the table. And when we were done, we hurried into the kitchen to take the cake out of the oven. And after the cake had cooled, we frosted it. Just then the lightning flashed, and this time it lit the whole sky. Even before the last light flash had faded, the thunder rolled, boomed, crashed, and baroomed just above us. The storm was here. Perfect, Grandma cooed, just perfect. She beamed as she added the last strawberry to the glistening chocolate frosting on top of our thunder cake. As rain poured down on our roof, Grandma cut a wedge for each of us. She poured us steaming cups of tea, and when the thunder roared above us so hard that it shook the windows and rattled the dishes and the cupboards, we just smiled and we ate our thunder cake. And from that time on, I never feared the voice of thunder again. And on the last page, it has a recipe for Grandma's thunder cake. So Grandma's thunder cake, you have to cream together at one time 1 cup of shortening, 1 3/4 cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 3 eggs that are separated with the yolks blended in. Beat the white part of the egg until it is stiff and then fold in the yolks. 1 cup of cold water, 1/3 cup of pureed tomatoes. That sounds strange in a cake. And then you sift together cake flour, dry cocoa, baking soda, and salt. You mix it until it's creamy, put it into 2 greased 8.5-inch pans and cook it at 350 degrees for 35 to 40 minutes. When you're done, you frost it with a chocolate butter frosting and top it with some strawberries. Sounds good, except for the tomatoes. I'm not sure how I feel about that. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that. My question for you today is, what was the author's purpose in writing this book? Now, I will tell you that Patricia Polacco writes the books about her own childhood. If you remember from the book Thank You, Mr. Falker, she actually wrote about her grandparents and growing up on a farm in Michigan in that book as well. So she writes these books about her own childhood. So what do you think the author's purpose was for writing this? Do you think that they wrote it to persuade us of something, to try to get us to believe something, to inform us about something, to teach us, or to entertain us with a story that may be fiction or nonfiction, but teaches us a lesson? Okay, so I want you to think about that. What was the author's purpose for writing this book? And then I want you to tell me, what was the author's message? What was the lesson that they want you to learn while listening or reading this story to yourself? So what is the author's purpose? Either persuade, inform, or entertain. And then what is the author's message? Or what is the moral or lesson that they want us to learn from this story? What is the one thing we can learn from this child and from her grandmother and the lesson that was being taught here? Okay, so think about that. Enjoy your weekend. I will see you again on Monday because I will record our next story on Monday. And on Monday, I will draw a new name. And I will draw it on camera again, and I will send that out through the mail. So take care, think about the questions, and I look forward to hearing from you either today or over the weekend or even on Monday. Bye-bye.